This is the Mets Postcast, your instant game reaction for the New York Mets. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, if it's going to be a late night, it might as well be a victory edition of the Mets Postcast as the Mets make it 5 wins in a row by defeating the San Francisco Giants in the opener of this series by a final score of 8-1. Chris Schubert, host of the Mets Postcast here, the Locked On Mets YouTube channel, the Locked On Mets podcast feed, here with you after each and every Mets game throughout the course of the season, recapping a fun one. It's been a little bit since we've had some Mets After Dark action. We had it here tonight as the Mets began what is a 6-game road trip out in San Francisco, and they did so in style. Clay Holmes battled through 5 innings. The Mets offense produced 8 runs. Francisco Lindor had a great night. The Mets were able to get to Logan Webb. Lots of great things happening here for New York, and it is the offense, obviously, where we are going to start here tonight.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Logan Webb has owned the New York Mets. They showed it before the game, the dominance that Logan Webb had last season against the New York Mets. In his entire career, Logan Webb had been dominant against New York. That not the story tonight, as the Mets jumped on Logan Webb early. They stayed on Logan Webb throughout his start, the shortest start of the season for the Giants starter, and a great sign as this Mets team starts this 6-game road trip. A team that walked into the ballpark tonight riding a 4-game winning streak, riding being the top team in the NL East, but I'm sure many of us felt coming out of that sweep of the Angels that things didn't necessarily still feel right. Offensively, they had to make 2 comebacks, still waiting to see it all kind of come back into focus. Lindor and Alonso in the last game of that series kind of breaking out, but you're still waiting for that offense to get back on track. Well, they certainly did that tonight. They did it early and often. Nimmo with a double to lead off the game. Lindor singles to move him into scoring position. And then, yes, not necessarily hits with runners in scoring position, but productive at-bats with runners in scoring position. And the Mets jumped out to a very quick 2-0 lead. And then it was in the 3rd inning, Lindor smacking a home run to make it 3-1. And then something that you absolutely love to see, what this team was able to do in the 4th inning, and who was at the center of the Mets breaking this game open in the 4th. Things get started. It's Beatty with a single. It's Alvarez with a single. It's Mauricio drawing the walk. It's the baby Mets. It's the bottom of the order getting it done. And then Taylor with a productive at-bat. Nimmo drives in a pair with a single, and the Mets have broken this thing open, and they're winning 6-1. And with the way the bullpen's been pitching as of late, with Holmes battling the way that he did tonight, you felt really good about the Mets once they got it to 6-1. They added some insurance runs late, and it was a great night. If you look up and down the box score, especially the top part of the lineup, Nimmo with 2 hits, Lindor with 3 hits, and that's really a very encouraging thing. Let's talk about Clay Holmes here, who had a interesting night. You look at the box score, you wake up tomorrow morning, maybe you didn't see the whole game, maybe you're listening to us back in the podcast feed, and you see that Clay Holmes went 5 innings and allowed just 1 earned run, and you would think that's par's the course for Clay Holmes. It's what he's been doing as of late as a starter for the Mets, but it just felt different. It was a constant battle. It was in and out of trouble. It felt like the game was teetering at multiple times with Clay on the mound, where the Mets had a lead. You know, they had that early 2-0 lead. They were able to make it 3-1 after the Lindor homer. They broke it open, made it 6-1. But the Giants still had these pockets. They still had these moments early in this game where they could have drawn it closer and put some pressure on the Mets and put some pressure on Carlos Mendoza to go to his A relievers, his super high leverage relievers. And Clay Holmes was just able to pull off magic trick after magic trick after magic trick and get out of these jams. A career high 104 pitches, matching a number that he's thrown earlier this season, picking up his 9th win on the year. And it wasn't him walking guys. He didn't hit a bunch of guys. He didn't, give up a ton of hits, 6 hits over the 5 innings. He just wasn't super sharp. And so he just ran up a lot of counts, I don't know how many full counts he ended up with, but it just felt like he constantly was getting to full counts, 3-ball counts, and needing to fight back, to battle back, to then ultimately get the ground ball that turned the lineup over. And so it just felt like he was battling uphill. Didn't have great command of the sinker tonight. Didn't have great command of the sweeper, although he threw 2 really nice ones to Devers in an at-bat late in that 5th inning. Just didn't feel like he was super sharp. And that's kind of been a theme for Clay as of late. Many of us are still waiting for Clay to break through. And I've said this before, but I think it bears repeating here. The Mets can do with a couple of starters that give you only 5 innings and they just, log in and they're going to give you 5 innings, 2 or 3 runs, and they're going to give you a chance to win. You can't have everybody do that. You have to have a couple of these guys be able to take the ball and go deep into games. We know David Peterson can be that guy. He's consistently been that guy this year. The Mets are waiting for somebody else to do that. They're waiting for somebody else to break into that mold. I don't expect it to be Clay Holmes. I do think this is what we are seeing is his version of hitting the wall like Sean Manaea and Luis Severino did a year ago with their innings as it crept up over the course of the season. And so it just feels like this is where he is going to top out. And hopefully over the course of this contract in New York, he gets better and better. And going into next year, he's able to make some offseason adjustments so that he can go deeper into games. But this is kind of what it's going to be with Clay Holmes. And that's okay. It's okay if Clay Holmes is going to give this Mets team 5 innings and 1 earned run every night. That is an acceptable outing in my books. You just need somebody else to step up and give you that length. Maybe it's Kodai Senga. Maybe it's Frankie Montas. Somebody else has to join that group alongside David Peterson. If you have 2 starters that are able to give you length, I think you'll be able to work around the other guys, maxing out 5, maybe 6 innings on a good day. We need to discuss Francisco Lindor's big day at the plate. The Mets once again creating havoc on the base paths, continuing to be a problem for baseball. Embarrassing, to use Keith Hernandez's word, just embarrassing opposing teams with the way that they run on the base paths. We will get to all of that here on the other side. Have you decided last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize that you want to be in the stands. That is exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes it possible. They make buying tickets fast and easy. Prices on the app actually drop closer you get to game time, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worrying out of buying. Gametime is the official ticketing partner, Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse an app for an exciting upcoming Mets game. Perhaps you want to get involved here when they come back to Citi Field. You can do so via the Gametime app. They've got the zone deals that pick the best seats in your section for you. And my favorite feature, it's the one that I shout out the most here when we do this, the seat view, where you're in the app and you're able to see exactly where you are sitting before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Today's episode is brought to you by Gameday Hue. Gameday Hue makes clean, no-logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. Perhaps you're going out for a round with the buddies. It's subtle, stylish, and you can still rep your team. You can wear it to tailgates, tee times, out running errands. I wear it to the office from time to time. It's the kind of hat that reps your team without screaming it. And it's not just hats. Check out their split shade gloves made for the golf course, or the perfect gift for the fan who has everything. Right now, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GamedayHue.com. That's GamedayHue.com. Code even stacks on bundle deals, so now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GamedayHue.com, code MLB15. Back here on the Mets Postcast, Locked On Mets YouTube channel, the Locked On Mets podcast feed, recapping the Mets picking up their 5th straight win, an 8-1 victory over the San Francisco Giants in the opener of this series. The Mets getting to the 60-win mark here on July 25th. And Francisco Lindor, after breaking out with a multi-hit game in the finale of this Angel series, snapping that hitless streak that he was on, continued to have a hot bat, 3 for 5, including an absolute towering home run into right field. Just the quick hands turning on an inside pitch and showing that bat speed. That's when you know Francisco Lindor is feeling it. He is able to attack that inside pitch. He's able to turn on it. He's able to keep it fair. The timing is there. The bat speed is there. The control is there. That's the type of at bat that tells you that Francisco Lindor is locked in, and he is back to being the guy that he was at the beginning of the season. And again, he's starting to hit. I know Pete had an 0 for 4, did drive in a run in this game, but he hit a big home run in the finale of the Angel series, along with Beatty, Alvarez, and Mauricio starting things there in that 4th inning. It does start to feel like things are coming together, and this lineup is starting to get lengthened a little bit. Stop me if you've heard this before, but the New York Mets played a baseball game, and they stole a bunch of bases. 3, in fact, tonight. Lindor picked up his 17th of the season, Nimmo with his 12th, Taylor with his 11th. The running game continues to be not just a tool that the Mets use, a strength of this New York Mets team, to the point where they are, and I'm just going to steal Keith Hernandez's word, because the way that he called out the Giants, I think, was fair. The only caveat that I would put on it is that this just isn't a reflection on the Giants. This isn't just a reflection on Logan Webb. The Mets are embarrassing other baseball teams. They are just more prepared than other baseball teams. Antoine Richardson and the Mets players and the coaching staff, they are more prepared to utilize the run game and use it against these teams than the opposing teams are in defending the run game. It's just a coaching masterclass by the New York Mets right now. They are just absolutely out-coaching, out-preparing other teams. It's that simple. You can't continuously do this. I mean, the Mets are just getting running starts off of these starters, and it's happening day after day, game after game, series after series. We're up to 26 consecutive steal attempts without getting thrown out. You would think it's brought up on the broadcast every single night. You would think somebody in a coaching staff, when the advanced scouting, when you're looking ahead to the next series, the Padres are the next team up for the Mets. You would assume that the Padres scouts that are looking ahead, putting together the game plan, would note this and say, hey, what are we going to do about this? But it just feels like nobody has an answer. And that is a credit to the New York Mets. Nighthawk mentioned something I noticed is that their timing is on point and they stay on base the whole time. Yeah, it's an excellent fundamental approach to sliding. They don't slide past the base. They're able to stay on there, keep contact. And yes, the timing is just perfect. And that to me just goes back to, this is a coaching thing. Now, credit to Lindor and Taylor and Nimmo tonight, and Acuna and Soto in the past, and everybody who's gotten involved in this. They're doing a great job in taking this information that the coaching staff and Antoine Richardson is giving them, and they're utilizing it. And they're utilizing it to perfection. But it's just a preparation thing, and it is a coaching thing, and it is an execution thing. And you just tip your cap to the New York Mets, because in sports, it's all about finding that edge, and the Mets are just finding an edge right now. And I said this the last time that we spoke on the postcast, but it bears repeating. When you have this type of threat on the base paths, when you are able to create this type of chaos, you now also create new opportunities to hit with runners in scoring position. You are now manufacturing chances to hit with runners in scoring position. And so this is the type of thing to have in your back pocket, where if you're struggling to score a run and you're struggling to get hits and you draw a walk, a hit by pitch, you reach on an error, now the Mets have a tool to get that runner over to second base, and now they're hitting with runners in scoring position. Another night where they hit really well, 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position. And so it's just a good way for this team to create some opportunities for themselves and really be able to apply some stress to these opposing teams. And tonight they applied stress, and Logan Webb just didn't care. The Giants just didn't have an answer for it. And so maybe there's an overnight adjustment. Hard to make those in-series adjustments. We'll see what the Giants are able to cook up here tomorrow, but the Mets just seem to be feasting on opposing teams. Stuff to keep an eye on. Shout out Rico Garcia coming back, throwing 2 scoreless innings, striking out 3. Had a scoreless outing for the Mets, got released, claimed on waivers by the Yankees, pitched for them, released, claimed on waivers by the Mets. and now is a part of this bullpen. Speaking of the bullpen, the big move of the day for the New York Mets, they traded for Gregory Soto of the Baltimore Orioles earlier today. Just a bread and butter David Stearns move, a left-handed reliever that has a sinker-slider combo, throws a sweeper, high walk rate, which is just kind of accustomed to the way the Mets build their bullpen, is they take on these guys with high walk rates because they feel like there's something that they can tweak. And so the Mets add another lefty to their bullpen. And right now, with Jose Castillo and Brooks Raley and then Gregory Soto, who should join the team tomorrow, the Mets now have 3 lefties. I don't know if it will stay that way permanently. I think we'll go back to 2, but definitely needed a second lefty. Couldn't ask Brooks Raley, coming off of the injury and the rehab from that injury, to be your only high leverage left-handed reliever. So good on the Mets to get another reliever in there. Good on the Mets to get some business out of the way early so that they can then get a jump start on the rest of the business, because I think a couple more relievers are going to be in here. They could potentially swing a bat. There's still work to be done for this team, for this roster. And so when you have to make that many moves, good to get the first one out of the way, and good to get it out of the way ahead of time. So you can go into the weekend feeling good about a team that's won 5 in a row. One more thing to keep an eye on here before we get out of here. The Mets tomorrow will be going for their 4th winning streak of 6 games or more this season. They had 3 such stretches in the first half. They will go for winning streak number 4 of 6 games or more tomorrow, and they will be sending David Peterson to the mound, their most consistent starter in that regard. We are back here tomorrow night, little Mets After Dark action, to recap the second game of this series, to see if the Mets can keep the good times rolling and stay in first place, increase that winning streak to 6. PD, go out there and have a great start. We will be here to break it all down, good, bad, or indifferent, here on the Mets Postcast. If you are new here, please subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so that you are notified when we go live after each and every Mets game throughout the course of the season. If you're listening to us over in the podcast feed, we greatly appreciate it. If you want to join us live, share your thoughts instantaneously after these games conclude, join us over on the Locked On Mets YouTube channel. But that is going to do it for us here as the Mets start their road trip off in style. A great night for the offense. A really solid start from Clay Holmes, just battling. It's not going to go down as one of his more efficient starts, dominant starts, but boy, the type of start that you love to see from a guy who's still figuring it out at the big league level, how to be a starter, him able to battle and give the Mets 5 innings of 1-run baseball with some really nice stuff. And a nice night from the bullpen, shutting the door and keeping all of the Mets options open for the weekend with their high leverage arms. Allows the Mets to play from ahead the rest of the weekend. We are here to break down the game tomorrow. Have a good one, Mets fans.